Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. I am you, you are me. The love we share inside is heavenly. This is true for all to see, that our souls unify in a common destiny. The time is now, let's start today. Let us see each other in the highest way, 'cause everyone is a reflection of all there is. Nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. Nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. Nothing in return, nothing in return. Nothing in return, nothing in return. As above, so below, our love's connected from the head to my toes. You say it's true, I say I know heart to heart is the only way we're gonna flow. What goes up must come down. Gonna spread our love and chant the sacred sound. Everyone is a reflection of all there is. Nothing in return, nothing in return. Giving, expecting. Nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return.
Great ancestor gave us great spiritually uplifting music of Ra Un Nefer Amen. Sepu, peace and blessings. How's everybody? All right, I want to welcome you to session 1, the new cycle, the new lunar cycle, another divine blessing, another power of the Holy Spirit is magnified this month. And you're here with us tonight on Comedic Legacy as we learn step by step how to awaken our higher powers so we can respond to the challenges of life on earth. Hetep, everyone. This is M. Tahuti Kamo. It's good to see you. The ever-present one, Dr. Brown, is with us. I saw you in Brooklyn the other day. And we have Sherry. Peace. Effie's with us. We have Boston in the house with Merrill. That's Ki Ma'aba. Welcome. All of them are in the webinar room. We have Rametsa. All right. How are you doing? Kushan is with us from Cincinnati, Ohio. Chi-Town with Abdullah Malik. And Janice is here. Welcome, Janice. Akwe from Virginia. All right, Carlton. Steady on the case. We have George Jones from the ATL. And my sister in Pennsylvania, Aretha Johnson. How you doing? Tenzin is here from Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, the former champions. Sorry about that, Tenzin. And we have Sharma Shemsa with the angelic voice. Kesong T, how you doing? We have South Carolina. God Dusk is with us on our YouTube channel, as well as Rising Phoenix on YouTube from Cali. Okay. Joanne Knight from Virginia, and Perry is with us. Akeem is with us. Peace. Nebatep. Carrie. That's my old partner. She's not old, I mean, longtime partner. Perry. And we have Nubian Cutie on YouTube. I see you checking Maat with the incognito. I see that Kiran is here. Travis from South Kakalaki. And Kaima'ati. Parts unknown. Kevin Hope. And we have Travis on YouTube. Welcome everybody on our YouTube channel. If you're just joining us, just finding out about Comedic Legacy, just finding out about this powerful Comedic guided meditation program. It's been in effect now. What is it, about 6 months? We're excited to have you here. And you're here at the right time. The first installment of a new cycle, the Ma'at cycle. You all heard about Ma'at. I know you've heard about Ma'at, but now you really, if it's your first time, going to get a deep understanding of Ma'at. And we have Ruby from Maryland. Magai from Canada. Okay, we broke the border now. International. Yes, Rosin Phoenix, excited to learn about Ma'at. Yes, you're going to learn how to put it into practice and get all the benefits. Comedic Neophyte is on YouTube with us. And we have Nebatep. Okay, Travis. Let's see. That's right. All right, South Carolina. Okay, here we go. We got Barbados. Osset Enquete in Barbados by the beautiful waters. And let's see here. I know you're in St. Pete. And we have Taki, Salam, peace and blessings. Birmingham, Alabama. We have more from Atlanta in the house. Sherry's with us. And we have Baltimore. Give me some more. Savannah, Georgia's in the house. Onuris, Montura. And let's see, we have, New Jersey's in the house. Yes. Good to see y'all. Tenzin is with us, of course. Never misses one. And let's see, Savannah, Georgia. That's right. Chicago again. So beautiful to come together with you all from around the country, even around the world. Where's my international folks? If you're first time with us, we want you to put that one in the chat so we can welcome you, put you in the front seat. Walter's here from YouTube. Imhotep Onkwaj Seneb, yes. All right, the divine state of the cosmic, I hear you. And we have Kimberly Johnson, welcome. Okay, Wims from NW, I think that's LMS, first time with us on YouTube. Let's give it up. Let's get some claps. Let's get some fire. We're here to spread the word. You know, our master teacher who's about to take the stage has been dropping this wisdom for 52 years. So we're excited when somebody comes into his presence for the first time, at least in this forum. Maybe you have his books, that Metu Neter. Maybe you have Maat 11 Laws. Maybe you have his book on the E King Oracles or some of those older works. Okay, Luba's here on FaceTime. Welcome, Luba. First time. Clap it up for Luba. And Meneb Ra Onk, yes, on YouTube. YouTube is lighting up tonight. Okay, Karan. We broke the border again. We had Belize in the house. My man, Sayebonk Heru. Uh-huh. All right, we're going to get started. Welcome. All right. So let me get myself in order here. Do the most important job to introduce he who is unintroducible, unless you got about 2 hours. We are blessed to have guiding us through the Comedic guided meditation program, a so qualified teacher who has been meditating for over 5 decades, personally teaching meditation for 5 decades with some incredible results, some life-altering, life-changing results, thousands of testimonials, tens of thousands of testimonials to the system of meditation that he has reawakened, that he has reconfigured and brought back into the practical application to help us to solve the problems of today, to help us to maximize our lives, to have a successful life, not just a successful business project or marriage, but actually to have a holistically successful life. And we can't do that without high spirituality. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. So right now, I'd like you to put your virtual hands together. I'd like you to give me some fire, some hearts, some love for the master teacher, Ra Un Nefer Amen. Shechem, master teacher, we greet you with the Comedic words of power, peace, and blessings. Anechrak to you. You're muted, sir. How about now?
Is that better?
There you
Very
go.
good. Yeah, so power and blessings to you. Power and blessings to you as well.
Thank you
power
so
and blessings.
much. So
they seem to be eager to speak tonight, huh? Stepping on each other's words, but it's okay.
Little excited. So I'm going to yield the stage to you to talk about this very, very important subject, and one of the most well-known words when people think of ancient Egypt and Kemet, and that is Maat. So we are assembled and ready to receive some guidance and instruction.
Thank you so much for having me this evening again, for manning and manipulating and moving and all the different ends, Maat. So, as you said, it is, when you speak about ancient Egypt, A word that comes to most people's mind is Maat. But once you know what Maat is all about, you will be so glad to know, the fullness of this part of the spirit. You see that? But before I get into that, I just want to remind or inform, new students with us this evening. Why do we have a different meditation every 30 days? Not coinciding, of course, with the beginning and end of a month, but the solely lunar, calendar. Why do we change the meditation objective? And it has to do with the fact that the spirit is a regulator of the functions of the mind, the psyche, and the physical body. And the spirit is composed of 11 major faculties, okay? And each faculty takes a turn every 30 days or so, 29 point something days, to rule the realm of the spirit, the mind, and the psyche, and so on. So it behooves us to meditate at a time when a faculty of the spirit is most active. And this cycle here is Ma'at, okay? And Ma'at is, among many other functions, is in charge of our wellness, physical, financial, mental, psychical, financial, social, meaning that you see, once we activate this faculty, once we open it up, you see that, and cultivate it and strengthen it, that faculty now begins to work for the next 12 months, to begin to work on a very high pitch to help us, unknown to us, with our finances, our healing, our social success, and so on. So it's important to understand that your ability to be well, to be successful, is not limited, or priority is not given to the information and the education that you will receive about, how to cultivate wealth and health. You have a faculty within you that is in charge of that, meaning that you see, once you arouse this faculty, you can lay back, and this faculty will go by itself and bring into your life people, and situations and experiences that will improve your health, your wealth, your social success, and so on. I cannot say that too often, because we think that the main source of success is education, the main source of financial success is financial education, and so forth. And let me tell you about something about, the faculties of the spirit are responsible for what you would call your talents. When you have a talent, you can perform very well without being educated. That's what talent is. You see that? Your best singers, your best painters, your best musicians, your best athletes, they bring to the arena abilities that are out of the world, abilities that, far surpass what you can learn in school or from somebody else. That's what a talent is. And the source of your talents are the faculties of the spirit. So what you need to do is to awaken this faculty, Ma'at, and direct it to bring you the wealth and the health and whatever else that you need, because it is there to serve you. You see that? So how do we awaken or arouse this faculty? First of all, let us know that in the ancient language, the faculties of the spirits are what we know as the Neteru, or the chakras, or the angels, archangels, and so on. These are different names by which the faculties of the spirits, are known. So when you're studying spirituality, you are awake, you're learning to awaken talents. And the only way that a talent, can help you, if it is, once it has to be aroused, brought into play. You see that? And you have to learn how to direct it, how to guide it, how to strengthen it. And this is what you're going to learn, this month here, or within the next, shall we say, 20 something days. So you awaken, you arouse a chakra, a neter, you see, through certain breathing techniques and certain sounds that we call mantras or hekal. Let's take a while and register that. Each faculty of the spirit, each chakra has its own specific sound. We call it a mantra, heka. And they all share in the same specific breathing technique. And the breathing technique is one that activates the vagus nerve. You've heard of that. It's very popular on internet now. Vagus awakening and arousing and so on. It is the largest nerve in your body, and it controls your physical, spiritual, and psychical life. So learn how to breathe correctly and breathe with intention to heal yourself and to forward and promote your psychical powers. Okay? The 10 cranial nerves of the cranial nerves of the vagus nerve, are they correspond to the 11 faculties of the spirit. You find that they are in acupuncture, there are special channels that corresponds to the 10 or 11, spirits, of Chinese medicine. So this is the knowledge that's been around, but kept hidden right on the people's nose. You see that? So once you activate the vagus nerves through the breathing technique and through chanting the mantras, just don't hum, learn the specific sound for each chakra, for each, neter. And when you work with it, you will find yourself, full of certain psychic powers and so on. People ask me, Brother Ra, how did you write, over 50 books in the 51 years that you've been teaching? And the answer, of course, is meditation, which involve the procedures of special breathing that activates the vagus nerve, or what the Chinese call the Tian, the Japanese call the Hara, okay, and so on. The Tibetan masters call it the Dumo, and so on. So once you activate the chakra or the nature that you're going to work with, okay, you will find yourself in trance, altered state, of awareness, an altered state of receptivity to giving new directions to your spirit, to your psyche, and so on. And this is why people fail. They give directions to the mind and the psyche to bring them certain, manifestations. You want more money, so you have learned that you can influence your psyche and your mind by affirmations and visualization. But they didn't teach you that you have to. It's important, very, very important for you to be in a trance state. That meaning the height of receptivity of the mind and the psyche, otherwise known as the soul. So that once you are in trance or in that altered state of consciousness, you and the vagus nerve is empowering, and awakening your cranial nerve, your 10 cranial nerves, which correspond to 11 laws of the spirit. You find yourself now manifesting the psychical powers, the spiritual powers that you need to add to your intellectual, efforts to achieve your goals. So the mantra of Maat, which, also occurs in not only Kemetic tradition, but in the ancient, Taoist and Chinese system, is the chakra Om, Shering. The mantras Om, Shering, Hering, Kling. Those 4 mantras make up the mantra of Maat. It's the mantra Om will also, once you chant it, it will also awaken, the part of your spirit that connects you to God, for you to improve your success, for you to improve your financial wellness and your healing, you have to be connected to God. You see that? And just talking about it and reciting nice poems about your connection to God and so forth will not do it, because you have to understand that things in life are achieved through power, energies, forces, just not information. So the mantra Om or Ankh, you see, awakens the divine self within you, or self, the Ajna chakra, to connect you with God so that you can now bring, the assistance, from God to achieve your goals. The next mantra that composes the Maat mantra is Herring, which is the will, the divine will. You've heard the experience in Christianity that really says, by the will of God and not my will, meaning that when you will something, your will can move the spirit, but so far. For you to move the divine spirit within you to the highest level of manifestation, you have to connect your will to the divine will. You see that? And you do that through the mantra Onk or Ong and the mantra Ring. You can hear the word Heru inside the Hering, confused by Heru, and so forth, or Horus. That's what a lot of people say, but we don't use the Greek name for the Kemetic, powers. You see that? The next mantra that makes up the Ma'at mantra is Kling, Kling, which is the mantra of that empowers your imagination. Many of you have heard that the imagination is very powerful. If you focus long enough on an objective, with imagination, it helps to bring what you want to you. To the power of attraction works through your imagination. But there's a faculty that governs your imagination, a spiritual faculty, which we call Hetheru. You see that? Which in the Yoruba tradition is called Oshun. In the astrological, it is called Venus, and so on and so on. But knowing these names is of no good unless you know the mantra and how to chant it. It's mantra Kling. You see? And then we have the mantra of Maat herself, which is Shering, Shring, Shering. So the mantra for the Maat is Ong, Ring, Kling, Shering, Kling. You see that? And that is composed, brought together in a wonderful melody that I was able to capture from the inner planes. And once you go into trance with that mantra, the combination of those four mantras, you then arouse the Maat, this is chakra, you see that, or the Metu Neter, as we call it. You see that. Now, once you have awakened the mantra within you, the chakra within you, awaken the nature within you, you now have to direct it, okay, to achieve its goal. And the way to direct it is for you to chant and recite an affirmation when you are awake and when you are in the trance state. And this affirmation is based on, is to cultivate your ability to love. You heard the chant that we started this meeting with tonight. Love is giving, seeking nothing in return. That's a very high spiritual order for you to give to somebody expecting nothing in return. You see that? That takes the egotism, out of giving. You see? It takes the ulterior motive out of giving. You see? And you notice I didn't put any other conditions, meaning that if you love somebody, you give to them whether they earned it or not. They just have to have a genuine need for what you have to give. You see that? And the more powerful your love is, and the more power you will get from loving, is when you have to give to someone that has not reciprocated and may not reciprocate, and so on. So love must be the basis of your affirmations that you're going to affirm in a waking state several times a day, as well as when you are in a trance state, which should be the last thing you do at night before going to bed. The next part of this affirmation is that one of them, must involve love for God. Most people have been trained to get from God. You ask God for things, God to help you to survive. You ask God to help you to achieve your goals, to get you your monies, to get you to heal you. But many of you have not been taught that God also needs your assistance. Let's say that. Okay? The I Ching in the 50th hexagram says that God does not make himself present in the world except by coming through people, meaning that it is people that have to show the divine love. You see that? There's people that have to show the divine aspect of love, the divine aspect of God, the loving aspect of God by sharing, by giving. And so that once people see that you are, living in a divine manner and receiving all of these blessings because of it, they too will follow your footsteps in developing their divinity. So this is how you give back to God. You see that? In other words, when you give to somebody, just not for them to feel well or feel good or to get better. It's for them to see an example of divinity in on this earth. This will tell them, oh, I can do this as well. So here you have the breathing technique, you have the mantra, Om Sharing, Haring, Kling. That's the mantra of Maat, composed of other mantras of other neters. So and then of the Maat mantra, Sharing, brings all of these mantras, the Onk, the Sharing, the Haring, the Kling, to work together in a harmonious, ordered manner. And that puts the cells in your body, the 3 trillions of cells in your body, to work in a harmonious, orderly manner to bring order and harmony into your life, into your finances, into your health, and so on. So the question then is, what can you expect to get from this meditation? Next week, we're going to meet. You're going to learn how to chant the chant. You're going to actually meditate with us. Those of you who are new, that's when we're going to do the guided meditation. I will guide you into the altered state of consciousness, to awaken your vagus nerve, to awaken the Maat chakra within you, the Neter within you. And then I'll help direct your attention to send this chakra, this Neter, to work on your behalf. You see that? You can prepare right now for next week, pencil and paper, and write down people in your life that on different levels of fellowship that that could benefit from your help. I'm sure you're going to find that there are such people in your life. And you will find that it didn't cross your mind to do a meditation for that person. It didn't cross your mind to go out of your way to do something special for that person just because they have a need. You're not going to do it to earn points. You're not going to do it to brag of how charitable you are. They're going to do it because the person has a genuine need, and this is the divine thing to do. You see that? If you can help that person, you have some blessing that you receive. Share it with others. $1 here, or make a cup of tea for them, or some little something. Meditate, reflect on it. It will come to you. You see that? Because without a genuine, sincere expression of love, which is giving, seeking nothing in return, you cannot awaken the Maat faculty within you. You see that? Okay, you can chant the mantra, but you have to do that. You can do the affirmation, but you must also live the truth of the chakra, live the truth, of the Neter, which is to give, seek, nothing in return. You see that? So find someone that you can genuinely, help don't talk about this lecture here. Don't let them know that you're doing this because you need to, be in complicity, with the mantra. No, just simply do it because they need that help. So put your mind to it. At the end of any meditation that you do, or your qigong or your yoga, when your body is totally relaxed, it will come to you. What little something you can do for somebody. That's your preparation for the next meditation. You see that we do next Thursday, and then you can take whatever you want, whatever help you can give. You can take it into meditation along with a vision of the benefits that you would like to see come into your life, and you can expect. After a while doing this meditation, maybe as soon as you finish or a year later, it takes people different lengths of time. They do the meditation, and it might take a day, a week, a year, or maybe 5 years. Who knows? But you can expect a sooner, a speedier response, than let's say, you know, a year or 10 or whatever. But some people have to work. They have to wait that long because they have a more complicated life, than others. And you may not know that you have that complication because the complication may have been sown back in a past life. Yes, my beloved, there's such a thing as reincarnation. You see that the intentions refer to reincarnation as the repetition of births. You see that. So with this, I will pause for questions that you may have about this lecture here. Okay. And a serious question maybe of the last meditation we did, but let's give priority to this lecture here.
All right. So please put your questions, your comments, and any experiences or testimonial you might want to share. We have several new folks online today. We have over 300 in the webinar room and a lot more on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Appreciate you all being here. So Shechem, you just gave us a tour de force about comedic guided meditation. And I just want to go back over a few things that you mentioned. You did speak about how you have reunited different aspects of meditation, from going into the meditation or trance state, which we do through breathing, the use of heka or mantras, affirmations, and visualizations. So another thing that you spoke about was the need to cultivate a love for God, and that there was actually something that God needed for us to do. And that's something very foreign, as you already mentioned, to people. Can you go back over that just a little bit in more depth? Because we tend to think of God as the Almighty, the all-knowing, the ever-present, that needs nothing, that what we could do for God.
Well, everything that happens in this world has to come through some earthly vehicle. That's a fact. You see that? Meaning that God is a living entity, but God doesn't have a physical body per se of its own to which to communicate to mankind, the things mankind needs to know to change. You see that? So God has to come through a person that has uplifted herself or himself to be able to house that mind, that psyche, that soul, that body has to be purified, has to be pure. Meaning, if you are, a criminal, if you are a person who, lacking in ethics and so on, you cannot channel God. People talk about channeling spirits, whatever. How about talk about channeling God? You see that? Okay. In other words, every person who gave to the world, new and powerful teachings received it from God through the Tehuti faculty. You see? So for God to uplift this world, and Lord knows this world needs to be uplifted. Look at what's going on, in this world, all the dishonesty and the cruelty, thousands of people dying unnecessarily in unnecessary wars and things of that nature. You see that? So God has to come into this world through somebody, some group of people at different times, in the history of the world. You see, it doesn't have to be one grand, spectacular person. Every little, show of kindness, of divinity, and so forth will help to uplift this world. So God needs for you to stop dilly-dallying and get your spiritual thing together so that people can say, oh my God, I'm looking at a God woman here. I'm looking at a God man here. Look at what this person has went out of her way to share, to give, seeking nothing in return. You see that? And once they see you, especially when you are committed to living a divine life, and you are, in many respects, you're the likeness of God, living a God-like life. So then people will emulate what you're doing and thus affect others as well. So God needs your help in that way.
Too.
You see, most people, when they think about living divine life, they're thinking about the benefit they will get from it. But God also needs you to benefit the world through your divine example.
And when you speak of sharing, which interestingly enough, and I don't know how that is, that the mantra that's come down to us through the ages is actually very similar to the word that we use for sharing, sharing.
That's Shring, shring.
Right.
But it's not actually says sharing. That's the Anglo version of it. It's shring. Like SHRIN, like with one syllable, shring. Not sharing, but shring. You see that?
Yes. So if we are sharing, if we are giving, seeking nothing in return, that is very contrary to popular cultural conditioning, or this modern world where people are so transactional and feel like if I don't get something back when I give, I'm putting myself in a position to be taken advantage of, for people to take things from me and who's going to take care of me type of a mentality. Can you speak a little bit about that as far as how we approach Ma'at and the selflessness?
Well, I gave an example early in the lecture here where you need to make sharing, a major part of your life. Where you might, you have a schedule for what you're going to do each day, each week, each month, each year. And maybe there should be a monthly entry in your, schedule to do something good for somebody. You see that? To share something good with somebody as a routine thing. This is not something you do a one-off and never again for the rest of your life. So create, if you have a schedule, and you ought to have a schedule, every successful person works with a schedule. Make an entry to do something for somebody at least once a month. That way you make it a habit. You see?
Mm-hmm. So we have Akeem in the webinar room who he must have picked up, or we're picking up on each other's point. He said, oh, wait a minute. Is this a continuation, Akeem? He says also, let me see here. Okay, yes, we will chant the chant before. You're going to get a sample of the chant before the meditation, so that'll be taken care of. And I'll answer that at the end for those of you who want to hang on. I'll show you the membership site. So Akeem says, I was put in a position to help a homeless person today for a haircut, to feed them, bought them a bus card, and told the person I was just doing God's work. I have no expectations. It felt good to my spirit to do. My question is, at what point do we stop giving as to not be taken advantage of?
So that's why we say to you, you select the people you want to give to. You see that. Doesn't matter if the person that you give to does not reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
So you select who you want to give to.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And do your best to, if somebody comes asking for your help, is different from you noticing that somebody, is in need. And perhaps if you're concerned about, lack of honesty in people asking for help, then maybe you just simply want to look around and find for yourself somebody that needs help and help that person. You see that? Just make the effort to make sure the person has a genuine need for the help. Doesn't make a difference if they acknowledge it in the help in the proper way or not.
Okay, Alan, we're going to come back to your question at the end. And Osir Tamar says, what is the best way to construct our affirmations for this cycle?
Well, there's a book that I not too long wrote about a couple of months ago. Empower your manifestations. Okay, so in that book, it's a very inexpensive book. How much is it, Oda?
Empower Your Manifestations, I believe, is $59 for the book and course.
No. The 59 for the book and course, just a book.
I'd have to look that up, Sheikh.
Yeah, anyhow, it's a very inexpensive book. It's called Empower Your Manifestations. That will teach you how to, come up with affirmations, and because the science of affirmation is just not simply, a nice statement. It has to be statements that include references to certain virtues that you must cultivate, and those virtues will therefore stimulate your neurotransmitter system to generate certain chemicals that will empower your visions, your visualizations, and empower your convictions, and those are the driving forces, of your ideas, your thoughts for receiving, benefits in this world. You see that? Meaning, if I say that I have good self-esteem, those words, there's nothing in those words to help build a strong, mental and visualization response to help you with self-esteem. But if you tie it into certain, awareness, certain ethics, virtues, you'll find that, that thought of the need that you have will become empowered. So if you get a copy of the book, you will find a lot of assistance and sample affirmations that you can use. You can, use right out of the book, or you can then apply them to modify them to your needs.
Yeah, the book is $29.95. And Shechem, you also gave us, you published a list of a series of affirmations for each of the Neter in the Maat 11 Laws course. And you have several for Maat in there as well. Those could be used as well, correct?
That's correct. You can get the link whenever you have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have Virgil on YouTube who says, how much different is it from the Hindu Lakshmi, Om Shring Kring Kling mantra? And can one go into meditation with that as the Hindus do?
The Lakshmi, the so-called goddess Lakshmi, predates the Hindu, era in ancient India. Lakshmi is part of the shamanic age, which is prehistoric. You see that? So Lakshmi, Kamalatmika is the shamanic or Hindu counterpart of Maat. So the mantra is the same. You see that? And there are, but thing in the Hindu tradition, they don't give all of the Maat, mantras. If you check my book out, Light and Kundalini Yoga, you will find that there are other, other mantras for Lakshmi or Kamalatmika, which is her real name. You see that? So the whole thing also is that once you learn the Kundalini Yoga system, as I taught in Light and Kundalini Yoga, you will find that each mantra, once you understand what chakra they're connected to, you see that, and in the stage of evolution of Kundalini, you're going to find that mantras are like alphabet, that you can move around to create different words, different applications, meaning that the Shring is the main mantra for Ma'at, but not limited. You see that to the things that they said that Lakshmi is good for. Because when Lakshmi was taken over by the Hindu, Lakshmi's role were very much reduced because the Hindu, was a patriarchal system, so they had to reduce the value of the goddesses. You see that? Okay? So do your research. There's so much information out there, to help you. So thank you for that question.
And on that note, Tenzin asks, which chakra corresponds to Ma'at?
The Lakshmi, the Kamalatmika chakra.
Mm-hmm. So we have another chakra question where there she is. Oh. Where Cuddy says, will we be working with the primary chakras or all 118 of them over time?
He's saying the primary chakras are the 118.
No, the person asks, will we be working with the primary chakras or all 118? Apparently.
First of all, there is no 118 chakras. There's nothing that is that defined number. It's the statement, the 118 or 108 or 180 chakras or mantras. That's not a reality. You're going to be working with, the 11 Neter, because the organization, of the mantras into the chakras, you'll find it in my book, Light on Kundalini Yoga, okay? And you're going to find, much more than, the so-called 7 chakras, of Kundalini Yoga and so on. But there's no defined number of chakras. You see that? You'll be working with the chakras that will awaken the 11 faculties of your spirit. You see, the Kamitic tradition was the only one that codified in an orderly manner, the chakras or the neter that regulates, the functions of your mind, psyche, body, and spirit. So you're going to find yourself totally and fully, spiritually developed. Now, it's just not simply working with the chakras. It's the laws, the 11 laws that you have to perfect. You see that? In other words, if you go to the Hindu yoga system, you will learn that there are these so-called 8 limbs of yoga. You see that it's just not the yoga system, but the 8 limbs. You see that? Okay, and the most important limbs of yoga is the Dharma, or the laws. You see that? So you can practice yoga, the breathing and the asanas and so forth, but if you do not master the Dharma, you are not going to achieve the goals of yoga. And the same thing is with Kami. You have to master as a way of life the 11 laws of the spirit. You see that? But not build your spiritual development around the chakras themselves. It's built around the 11 laws. Once you perfect those laws, then you will perfect your spirit.
Thank you for that, Shekhem Shekhem. We have some other chakra questions, but I think I would like to ask you about something that you just mentioned, and that was the law or the Dharma. And most of us that have been exposed to ancient Egypt through historians and other books, they relate to Ma'at as, order, law, justice, and the so-called negative confessions. You just mentioned the importance of understanding and living divine law. Can you just share a little bit about your insight? In fact, you wrote, for those of you that are brand new with us, not familiar, you wrote an entire book on Ma'at, and it's called The 11 Laws of God. So can you share the committed connection with this understanding of Dharma or Ankh and Ma'at?
Well, every spiritual tradition understood that nature is built around laws. A law is an understanding of the cause and effect, relationship that makes things in this world happen. Meaning that for there to be order in this world, there has to be, a consistent cause and effect relationship, in events. You see that? Meaning that we don't live in a haphazard world. You see, in other words, if something causes an effect today, it must have done it yesterday, and it must do it tomorrow. You see that? So that the 11 laws, you see, when you live them, each and every one of them contributes to the same effect. The effect of each one in your life. Yes, if you didn't have laws, then you're living by what? Beliefs, or opinions. So what the 11 laws of Maat are saying here is that there are 11 cause and effect, 11 sets of cause and effect relationships, in this world that regulate your life. Yes, sir. For your life, for you to have wellness, each of those 11 faculties of spirit, those 11 chakras, we identify 11 in Kemet. The shamanic people in India, they identify 14 chakras, as it is stated in the books on Hindu yoga. So the thing is that there are 11 sets of cause and effect in man's life. And when we speak about cause and effects, there has to be consistent, effect from each given cause. And that's what a law means. You see that? Now, people say, Ma'at means order. Order is one of the effects, one of the things that Ma'at oversees. You see? For there to be order, there has to be consistency in cause and effect, meaning that, if I respond to a challenge, without peace, then there's going to be disorder in my life. They say that if I go about my life not respecting the cause and effect relationship between me being one with God or one with my fellow man and fellow woman, there will be disorder in my life. So when we speak about, in relationship to order, we must identify the cause and effect that each of the 11 laws, is pointing to. Yes, just not simply say that Maat is order. You have to point to the cause and effect relationship that is bringing that order into play. Of course, Ma'at is the source of the Greek word mathematikos. Yes, that's I explained that in one of my early books. I think Modernity Volume 1 or 3, one of those, where I said that Ma'at in the Greek tradition become mathematikos. The word kos, K-O-S, is order, you know, as in cosmology. Okay, so as in cos or KOS is the opposite of chaos, disorder. So cos is order. So when the Greeks learned mathematics from the Egyptians, they call it Maat te matikos. You see that? So that's a very powerful nuance, historical key there for people to understand. You see what came out of Egypt. There's so many things that the Greeks and the Romans got out of Egypt that they have not, given their propers. This is, but it's all right. It's coming out now.
You,
Um,
you're
was
giving
that?
me a good Camus Fest segue there.
Oh yeah. You see that?
So Shechem, what about this number 42 and the so-called negative confessions that have been associated with Ma'at? You see it all over the internet, everywhere. When people talk about Ma'at, they talk about the so-called Book of the Dead and the 42 negative confessions as being, what happens at the judgment. How does that relate to the laws as you're sharing with us today about the laws in that relationship with Ma'at?
At the end of a person's life, they are judged. They go through a judgment. People say, well, when I was dying, I saw this light, and I went towards the light and the light, Well, that's the beginning of the process of death, meaning that when you die, at some point in your inner plane existence, sooner or later, you're going to be judged. You go to a judgment. And the judgment is for you to, as a deceased person now, or as a person living in the inner planes, for you to re-examine your life in terms of, your observance of the law, the laws of God, meaning there cannot be judgment if there are no laws. So, your life on earth is governed by divine life, whether you know it or not. So you're judged for you to learn whether how close or far were you in observing God's law. You see that? So you are judged based on 42, you know, assessors. We call the 42 assessors, or the people that assess your life. Not the people, but entities, the spiritual entities that assess your life. Now, people talk about this negative confessions. They keep calling it negative confessions, then they never read the original. If you read the original text of Campbell, you're going to find that the deceased is not engaged in a negative confession. They are speaking of their freedom from sin. If I say not have I given, one of the things that the deceased has to be judged by is did they allow themselves to be carried out by anger? Did you allow anger to control you? So the deceased says, not have I given in to anger. That's one of the things that you have, for you to prove that you are a divine being, you have to prove that, you have to claim that you did not give in to anger, to fear, that you did not treat anybody, that you did not steal, that so you go through, these 42, potential, you know, um, sins. You see that? So there are 42 assessors that take you through that. And if you've ever seen the picture of an assessor, it's some kind of demonic looking, creature, part man and part animal, with a cudgel in their hands, meaning that, they are, for each of the sin that you have committed, that you have to confess to, okay, you get cut. That part, that sin is cut away from you, you know, to help you it's a purification process. So that when you come back, you do not bring any of that negative things, you see, back into the world with you. So the 42 assessments that you go through is for you to declare your freedom from sin, or your you know engagement in sin. And each one is cut away from you by one of the 42 assessors. They sit in front of you, and they have these weapons, these cudgels that they use to cut the sin away from you, and that that takes place in front of Oser, representing God, and in front of Tehuta, the judge, in front of Sebek, which would be today called the lawyer, your advocate, yes, and things of that nature. So in case that you want to say, you want to say that you did not commit a sin, Sebek is there to remind you your conscience. Yes, you did. You remember when so and so happened. So it's a play. It's a dramatic thing that happens in the inner world. You see? And unfortunately, people who talk about these things on the internet, they have not taken the time to research the material properly. There's so many people that are very quick to be out there making monies, on Kemetic spirituality, without taking the time to really research the subject carefully and in depth to give a proper, not only accurate, but a not knowledgeable, picture of the Kemetic culture. That's why we call ourselves Kemetic legacy, because I have devoted myself for the past 51 years to get the story right and bring the real story to the people, because that's how you protect your spirit. That's how you protect your incarnation. You cannot live a good life if you don't know what that good life is all about. If you don't know how that good life is assessed, and it cannot be made, cannot be something that Joe made up in his basement on his computer. It has to be something that is sitting in the pyramid walls inscribed. For example, a simple thing like, this so-called book, the Book of the Dead. The book was never called the Book of the Dead. It's the Arabs in Egypt, the grave robbers that called the Book of the Dead, because the book was found buried with deceased people. But there are no chapters, no statement in the book calling itself the Book of the Dead. You see that? It was just simply, an accounting of the truth that you had to live by, that was buried with you when you passed on. You see that? And I wrote a book, Nukoser, where I explained that process of death and being and the and how you're judged, so that you can have a book to understand, you see, what you came to earth to achieve. You see, what should be on your burial plate. And if you live the proper life according to Kemetic tradition, you can call yourself a divine being. And the name on that divine being is by you being able to say, I am the Oser so and so. I'm the Oser Jane Whitman. I'm the Oser Robert, uh, Clarence, and so on. So these are the things that you have to take the time, because you see, Egypt gave religion and philosophy and science and all of this to the Greco-Christian world, to the Hebraic world. There is so much beautiful and deep teaching, spiritual and scientific, in Kemet. You see that the foundational scientific thinking is hidden in one of the trees, of our pre-manifestation. You see that the Ogdod and so on. So there's so much beautiful thing that's getting, you know, um, taught the wrong way and destroyed by people who just want to make money off Kemet. You see that? Write a book, say anything, and you know you're expert of ancient Egypt.
Wow. So I just want to reintroduce you. If you're just joining us, this is Ra Un Nefer Amen, Shechem Shechem of the Sarset Society, 52 years of teaching on ancient Kemet. The book he's referring to is the Metu Neter, which is his, I don't want to say translation, his understanding of the Kemetic holy scriptures that people refer to as the Book of Coming Forth by Day or the Book of the Dead, Pyramid Text, etc. And that is something that you will be able to get a copy of if you have not already gotten it on our website that we'll tell you more about. I do also want to welcome so many of you who have been a part of our committed guided meditation system, and you've been asking about events and when we can get together. So I want to take this moment to talk about October 18 and 19. You have an opportunity to come and meet with us in person, and to meet Ra Un Nefer Amen in person, and to hear his lectures, presentation on the greatness of ancient Kemet and how Ma'at was the foundation. And he's also going to be there with historian Anthony Browder, historian Ashra Kwesi, and Nensa Amen, his son, who wrote the book Black Pharaoh. Powerful information in a weekend that we're going to spend together. It's Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 19th. I'll give you the information in a moment, but it's exactly what we're talking about right now: the history, the science of our ancestors from Kemet, and then most importantly, how do we apply that? How do we take what made Kemet so successful, such a monumental achievement, unprecedented achievement? How do we do that now? And the key is Ma'at, the foundation of comedic achievement. Ra Un Nefer Amen will be lecturing live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 19th, the second day of a 2-day event called Kemet Fest. So hope to see many of you there. And we have Metu Neter on our webinar room, who I think this question ties right into what you were saying and the ritual that you were explaining in the declarations of innocence. I believe that's a she. Says, God is ever present and mankind exists within the aura of the divine, but not all people are able to access the highest faculties of God unless they have purified themselves through practice, understanding, and ritual. Question: how does a person know that they are manifesting their godhood and their divinity on earth?
Good question. The ancient Egyptians, explain that the 11 laws of God must be lived in order for you to claim divinity, that you're a divine being. Because there are laws, when you live the 11 laws, you are going to manifest certain spiritual, psychical effects in your life that people will call saintly or magical, certainly divine. So you're measured against the yardstick by which you're measured are the 11 laws. So you will know that you are living the 11 laws. So once you learn the laws, you will know right then and there whether you violated the law or you're living the laws, so that once you go through your daily, business or whatever, you will experience sinning or not sinning. There's another meditation that you will learn, and some of you may have already learned it in our course, Your Union with God, which we have elevated for the coming winter solstice, which is almost upon us again. It's the Uchal Medu, the weighing of the heart. Okay, and we're going to make that available for you, in one of our webinars, for you to have a way and means of checking each and every night before you go to bed. The weighing of the heart, the Uchal Medu, is the meditation system that will enable you to check and double check on whether you are in compliance with divine law and therefore living a spiritual life. But it's just not simply an awareness of living truth. You will find changes in your mind. You will find, a great improvement in your ability to think, to intuit. You find a greater, change in your will, the ability to empower your intentions, you'll find a major change in your spiritual and psychical powers, the ability to make things happen by the spirit, by the sight, by the soul. Those things will begin to happen in your life. But the guide, is, the 11 laws. That is what your guidance will be. I could say that you could look at, oracle readings, but the oracle readings are too general and too limited for you to be, because they point basically to, an area in your life as opposed to the totality of your life. And by that, I mean that once you learn the Ucha Medu meditation, night after night after night for the next, 50 years, each and every night you were able to then not abide, indulge this sin, that sin, the other sin. You have a list of sins and laws to follow. And you will know that you are a divine being by your compliance with the laws and by your ability to manifest certain powers. You see that?
Yes. Now, you spoke last month, Shechem, about the what to expect from these meditations. And again, we have a number of people with us, and I want to welcome you. Some of you just joined as full members of our committed guided meditation system, which I'm going to share with you when we're done, how you can become a full member. And some of you would have been with us through the whole 6 months or so. Last month, through some of the testimonials and experiences of the students, you mentioned that when you are engaged in this spiritual practice, that many times you are tested, or that there is a sacrifice that's needed to that must be made. And I believe you equated that to when you are chanting a mantra and you have to live the pra-yoga, or we would say the Ankh and Maat, you'll be tested in that manner. Can you share a little bit about that as well, as you're giving the new students, understanding on what to expect and the means of evaluating our behavior?
Yeah, when you're approaching success, when you're approaching, upliftment in your health, your social status, your financial status, when you're approaching these things through the power of the Spirit, you're approaching these things through the grace of God, you have to uplift yourself. You have to purify yourself. You have to begin living truth. And some of us, are tested, okay, to see if we are going to hold on to the peace. One of the laws of God is that peace is your natural response, your natural normal response to challenges in life. You see that? And you might be looking for some great help from God, you see, from your divine spirit to achieve a financial goal. So something might happen in your life where your sincerity and ability to hold on to being peaceful in the midst of a challenge happens in your life. You see that? Meaning, let me give you a more concrete example. Let's say that you need to buy a car so you can improve. You need to, let's say, work for Uber or Lyft. So you need money to get a car and so on. So you do the meditation to get this car. And the very next day, you suffer some major financial loss that you didn't cause. You see that? Okay? So that is providence. That's the spirit, world bringing you a challenge to see if you're going to hold on to that peace that you swore to hold on, as an example of divinity. So if you hold on to the peace and enjoy the peace, so you're sailing through, okay, yeah, so you lost money. You're doing the meditation to get money, but here you are losing money, and none of your, you didn't cause that to happen. That's what the yogis will call, in the yoga tradition, that's called a karmic cleansing. You see that? So if you hold on to the peace, you see that, and not give in to the loss, eventually then you find that you will get something even greater than what you asked for.
Mm.
You see that?
Yes. Yeah, we're getting a lot of amens in the chat. People can relate to that. And
Oh,
it's such
we can all relate to being challenged.
and that's a very important point, Shekma Shechem, because we're in the habit of when something good happens, we say, oh, we've been blessed. God has blessed us. This good thing happened, and this happened for us, and this person is so good, and I got a good job, and it's a blessing from God. It's a blessing from God. But I mean, does that obviously doesn't mean that when negative things happen that God is damning us or blocking us when we understand that.
You go to the gym, right? And you got to lift weights. You got to go against resistance to increase your power, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's a physical law. The spiritual world works the same way. If you want spiritual power and physical power, you have to also work against resistance. Meaning that spirituality doesn't come cheap. Imagine that you want that life where you sit down to meditate, you do affirmations, you do visualizations, you put on your ointments, your aromatic oils or whatever, and boom, 9 out of 10 happens for you. That's a lifetime that you want. Life doesn't work that way. You're gonna have to give up some to get some. They say that but what you're gonna give up is not a loss, because in the spiritual tradition, you one of the laws that you must observe 100% is the law of Amen, to stay peaceful in the midst of challenges. You see that? So if you're doing a Hekaru meditation to get a car, or you're doing a Maat meditation to get a husband, whatever, okay, you have to observe the law of Amen just the same. You have to, so if you're losing things, you have to remain peaceful, because that's divinity. If in truth you are a divine being, if in truth you're going to become a God woman or a God man or a man of God or woman of God, then you have to be able to remain at peace no matter what you lose. And life keeps testing you that way and retesting you that way. And you're probably retesting that way because you may not be giving up on the outside, but on the inside, you're giving up galore.
Mm.
Let's hear that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I got to testify. I remember years ago, you said that true wealth is having what you need when you need it. And we have seen that happen so many times that we're, on the one hand, we might be tested or think we're losing something, or we actually lost something physically. But then at moments of need, it's like what is needed just appears, always appears. Someone shows up, something unexpected happens. And it's just a beautiful, empowering experience.
Well, it's a law of life. If you remain divine, meaning at peace, when you lose something, your spiritual power is increased. That's a law. That's the law of a man. Your spiritual power is increased when you remain peaceful and enjoy being at peace. It's in the midst of losing something. And that's part of the definition of happiness. Happiness is, being joyful when you have the good things of life, being at peace when you lose them, but then enjoy being at peace when you've lost them. So that means you're always joyful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we mean by eternal joy or happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know that because they confuse the word, they confabulate the word joy with happiness. So happiness is eternal joy, meaning I'm joyful when I have it, and when I don't have it, I'm peaceful, but I'm joyful by enjoying the peace. So I'm always joyful. And that's why people are tested, because, confuse happiness with joy.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of ashe, a lot of amen in the chat. and Maya says, I hope I'm pronouncing your name, Maya. You're a regular with us. I think you're a subscriber. She says, is it okay to vent about the setback, even though you still hold into the peace while going through the setback, not wallowing, just a quick acknowledgement of it?
Absolutely not. So it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope. And it's not necessary, because if you see, the thing is this here, they say, Rome was not built in one day, meaning that your spiritual power that you need to achieve your goals will not come in one day, but you have to remain true to the word of God. Don't forget, you see, that course that we have, Union with God, which we're going to refurbish and put back out there, is telling you, you're not with God one day and then drop it the next day. You have to remain true to the laws of God each and every single day the rest of your life. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the result? More spiritual power. Meaning, what do I mean by more spiritual power? I mean more power to achieve my goals, more power to heal myself through the spirit, through the mind. People are not able to heal themselves by the power of the word, because they think that the power for healing is in the word. No, the power for healing, is in your living of divine law. You see, because when you're living by divine law, you see, you are increasing your spiritual force, your chi, your vitality, okay, your spiritual, your raw force. You see that? And when you so-called vent, what you're venting is venting your life force away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not needed. You see? For example, when something bad happens in your life and you end up crying is the animal spirit within you, the instinctive spiritual ability to reduce the tension. So yes, go ahead and cry. But guess what? You're cultivating crying when you lose something, and you're going to find yourself crying even more and more down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir?
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right.
And the thing about crying and venting is that there are modalities of breathing that is getting rid of what the Chinese will call the yang liver energy. Okay, when you're crying, you are again removing tension, and so forth. Okay, so the thing is that you can achieve the same goal by doing deep breathing, deep abdominal breathing, which is more effective and 100% durable. So if each time that you feel like venting and crying, you did, abdominal, lower abdominal breathing, you will find that your need to vent and cry will eventually disappear forever. And along with the negative effects of anger and fear and worry and grief. So do not play with the devil. Don't give him an inch. He take the whole arm.
Karan agrees. She says, I'm learning to laugh through the challenges.
There you go.
Little laughing hermit.
When I was a little boy, I used to love, the Reader's Digest. The little part of the Reader's Digest says, laughter is the best RX. I used to go to that section in the book to read it, because it had jokes in it and so forth. And there's a book that all of you can buy it on Amazon. It's called Anatomy of an Illness, I believe. It's a book where a gentleman he had a incurable illness, and the doctor said, put your affairs in orders, and the guy, read somewhere that laughter was medicine. So he got all the Three Stooges video that he could find, and he watched them all day long. And that constant daily laughing and things of that nature ended up healing him of an incurable illness. And he walked out of the hospital laughing his way to the bank. He wrote a book about it, and so I think it's called Anatomy of an Illness. No.
Yeah, I think that's Anatomy of an Illness. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a very, very good book to have in your library to remind you, what you need to do, when you have a very bad, illness.
And Abdul Malik's on our YouTube says, "What should one do if you get angry and commit the sin?"
If you got angry and committed the sin, depending on how aware you were. If you were 100% or close to it, aware that you're doing, you're going to sin, then you have a lot of work to do. I cannot give you a judgment on that because it depends on what else you've been doing with your life. All I can say to you is that if it's over a past event, then you need to go to sit down with a diviner and have them do a spiritual reading on what can you do, say, to straighten things out in your spirit. Keeping in mind, though, that if you go that route, you have to make sure that you know that you have an ironclad commitment to living not only the truth of that sin, but all truths, all laws.
So on that note, Shechem, in a more general sense, when we learn about these divine laws and we learn about peace being our nature, and that we should not see others as against us, and always look for a win-win, and on. These are not our usual conditioned responses. So if we find ourselves failing in applying or living up to these laws, whether it's from time to time or whether it's in unanticipated situations, or if we're just beginning to embrace this way of life, and we look at ourselves and we are full of shortcomings, how do we approach this path? How do we address that and fix it?
Well, first of all, take your time. You're doing the meditation, okay, with these laws. Don't expect yourself to be free of emotional challenges. Don't expect to be free overnight. Give it time. The Chinese, the Taoist system, they said that the most important, virtue in life is sincerity. Just make sure that you are sincere in wanting to change, in wanting to embrace the divine way of life, wanting to embrace the 11 laws of God, that you're sincere about it and give it your best. And expect you're going to fall. Expect that you are going to fall here and there many times and so forth, and know that you will get back up and recommit yourself to living truth. And that is why we also take our time and do one part of the spirit a month. You see that? We don't try to get all Rikuhuti and Heteru and all of them together at one time. That will be too much. You see that? So take your time with it, and, when you do that, once we teach the Ushal Medu, you're going to affirm, your truth, your freedom from sin, maybe one or two sins. Let the other ones go. Every success will add to other successes. So yes, take your time with it. You see that? Because you are the most talented and dedicated person will fall many, many times. You see that?
Mhm.
All I can say, like you should have seen me earlier when I first started, to work on my spirit. I wasn't an angel. I had my personal, social, and private challenges that I had to, go back to the drawing board.
Mhm.
And that's life for everybody.
Mhm. Much appreciation. Much appreciation. So we are running up against the clock, Shechem Shechem. I would like to invite those of you who need some further instruction to hang on. We're going to spend a few minutes just going through the Comedic Guided Meditation Program and also how you can get your hands on some of the things that we spoke about as far as courses, books, and so on, just for a few minutes. But I would like Shechem Shechem, if you would, just to give us any parting instruction. We've got our assignment, and yes, this is recorded, so you can go back and review what was said in the very beginning. But yes, we were given some instructions on how to prepare. Next Thursday, the 7 days from now, we will be engaged in the actual guided meditation process. You need to be a full member to participate in that. If you are not, we have some other things that you can start your journey with. So,
And
Shekma Shekma, yes, sir.
but before I made the last statement, you said that you're going to give them instruction on the mantra, the chant.
No, I was just going to share with the people that have just kind of come across us on YouTube or Instagram what the program is and how they can sign up for the entry level, or they can become a member.
Yeah, because I was going to make some changes to the breathing, so I just want you to hold off on passing on the mantra.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't, so just that will add to the confusion,
Right.
Okay.
So yes, what Shechem Shechem's referring to is that in your portal, there will be a sample track with the mantra and instructions on how to breathe. So that will be posted up before next Thursday, so you can get acclimated to it and be
No, but I'm
prepared.
saying I'm changing the breathing, so that
Yes, right. Once
so
you give it to
don't
me, it's
post
going to
it.
be posted there.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. So, my beloved, parting words here is that, Ma'at, is one of the greatest gifts, because order in your life, the orderly functions of your 3 what's it called, trillions of cells in your body, the orderly function of the mind, the psyche, your social life is overseen by the Ma'at part of the spirit. It is, and Ma'at is called the great healer, the greater healer, the greater fortune, whereas Hederu is the lower healer, the lower fortune. So I want you to stop and savor the grace of God, the mercy of God in giving you this nature, in sharing with you the ability to share in its divine power through the mantras and the teachings of Maat. And it's interesting that in the Hebrew Kabbalah, Ma'at is called Chesed, 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 the fourth sphere on the tree of life. You see that? And Chesed in the Hebrew becomes in English mercy. You see that? Some Kabbalists think that the mercy of Chesed is to ameliorate, the judgment, of Geburah, or in this case here, the harsh, judgment, okay, that we find, that the justice system can give to you. You see that? So mercy is not the showing mercy in handing down, judgment. It is the savoring and witnessing and being thankful to the mercy of God. Because the judgment of nature, the judgment of everyday life is more demanding than man's judgments. Yes, any judgment you can receive from man. The mercy of God in enabling you, to bring, wealth and well-being and wellness into your life. You see that in a world that is very problematic, and so on. Look at what the people are going on right now in Kiev and in the Congo Republic and in the people gee, a little tired here, you know, in Israel, and so the thing is that the mercy of God, when you do this Maat, once you learn the Maat mantra, make time and a space to envision the people who are going through, heavy challenges, no matter what side they are, on whose side they are, see them, all now receiving some mercy, a cessation to these wars, to these inhumanities, and things of that nature. Because in this world here, all of the people, they say that are being victimized, by the leaders of their countries. And from another perspective, the leaders who are victimizing their followers are victimized by their own ignorance. As it is said in the Christian book, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So the man that looks like he's getting an advantage, you see that, when he finds himself on the other side after he has made his transition, and in his next life, he will go through, certain changes where he would be begging and begging for mercy. So you can visualize those negative people now, seeing them learning to correct their errors, yes, in a merciful manner. Yes, because he who can grant mercy is granting life. Being merciful, yes, by meditating, you're going to transfer Maat and visualize the transgressor, yes, learning the proper lessons in a merciful manner will grant you power of life, great spiritual power, that you can heal others. This is a law of life that is not fully understood by most initiates.
All right. Thank you so much. Let us put our virtual hands together and show our appreciation. And we appreciate all of you that came through tonight, especially if you just kind of stumbled upon this great work that is being done. And we'd like to say an Echirach to you, Shechem Shechem, power, peace, and blessings, and have a restful evening. We look forward to seeing you and being guided with your meditation next Thursday night.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, and a beautiful next 7 days till we see again.
Yes, sir. All right. Powerful, very powerful. So yes, I will be studying this recording. I know you will be too. It will remain on YouTube for those of you that joined us there. If you joined us on the webinar, it will also be posted in the portal, in the Comedic Guided Meditation portal. So let me just share one other announcement. How can you make your arrangements to be with us live and in person on Saturday, October 18th and 19th at Kamet Fest 2025. Yes, you will get an opportunity to meet Shechem or Shechem Ra Un Nefer Amen, in person, live and in person, and to hear, I'm sure, what will be a masterful lecture on Sunday, the keynote address. So you can go to bit.ly/CametFest 2025 and get your tickets, get your reservation. It is a hybrid event, so we will be live in person and we will also be online. So no matter where you are in the country, no matter where you are in the world, you will be able to participate with us, join in with us, help us to build the AAPA temple in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is our once a year annual fundraiser. So we appreciate you spreading the word about this. You can get that address, that bit.ly CametFest 2025. You'll go to our landing page and learn all the details about the event, including the schedule. We will have some activities, some great events for children. The event is free for 17 and under, because we really want our youth to be exposed to the environment, the knowledge, the culture, while you are also getting your education and your enjoyment. We're going to be having a live in-person group committed guided meditation on the Sunday, the second day. Then we will hear from Anthony Browder, from Anensa Amen, from Ra Un Nefer Amen, and I will be closing the conference on Sunday night after all of that. And that's going to be preceded by a powerful Saturday, starting out with some workshops on health, healing, and self-care, so important. We will also hear about the 7 keys to healing from our team of, we have an integrated medicine doctor, as well as practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, a wonderful husband and wife couple. And in fact, if you would like to get a TCM consultation, you can go to the website and make an appointment. Some of you were asking about spiritual readings. Spiritual readings will be available during Kamet Fest. You can also check out our link tree that I'll put up in a minute if you are nowhere near Pennsylvania, but we will be doing readings that weekend. And then we will be having Reclaiming the African Genius from the Books in Stone by Ashra Kwesi, very famous historian. And he'll be speaking on Saturday at 6. And that's going to be in person only for his presentation. And then we're going to have a wonderful night of entertainment with Baba Karamogo and the Djembe Orchestra, as well as the Amari Rebel Band. And I heard we're going to turn up some Afrobeat. So some of y'all been waiting, saying, when can we get together? Well, here's the next opportunity, Kamet Fest 2025 in Philadelphia, October 18 and 19. All right. So also, if you are new with us and you want to find out more about comedic guided meditation, if this was your first experience learning about this, you can go to this address, tinyurl.com/meditation portal, and you can sign up for our entry level, which is free to you. So you can go in there and you can, look around. You can go through the Amen, powerful Amen module with its 3 guided meditation components that explain to you the highest law of the spirit, the law of unconquerable peace, which we relate with the Neter Amen, as well as get instruction on the mantras, the breathing process, the meditation process, and experience all of that, at your own pace. If you've already done that, or you would like to get in sync with us with the Maat cycle, then you need to become a full member, and you can learn about that. Let's see if I can get my technology to work. This is what our our meditation portal looks like on your mobile device. And when you hit the full member button there, you get to go into our archives or enter the current cycle, which is Ma'at. You also get to download our workbook. And just to show you some of the guidance you get in our full member workbook. See if this makes it bigger. Okay, so this is the workbook that comes along with your membership. It explains to you the 3 sessions that we have every month. It gives you a little understanding of each of the neters. It gives you some guidance into the cycle that we are following. We're now in the Ma'at cycle. We just finished the Osir work, and it gives you a workbook, journaling areas, more instruction on our breathing practices, and so on. So again, you can go to tinyurl.com meditation portal and sign up there to become a full member, or you can go straight to bit.ly/join KGM if you'd like to get in step with us with Ma'at cycle, which is for full members. The rest of the modules is for full members only. It's $24.95 a month. And the address is bit.ly/join KGM. KGM is Comedic Guided Meditation. This was session 1 of Ma'at, and we will have session 2, the meditation, and then session 3 will be a question, answer, and testimonial sharing, followed by another meditation. And then we will have a 4th session just pointing out how you can continue the work by using some of the resources in the Ma'at 11 Laws of Health, Wealth, and Success. Okay, the last announcement I want to share with you, let's see if I have it on here, is our mobile app. Okay, which is called Comedic Stream. I don't have a link here. Let me just write it out for you. So what you can do is go to your Google Play Store. All right, here we go. You can go to your Google Play Store, or you can go to the Apple App Store, and you type in Comedic Stream, KAMITIC Stream, Comedic Stream. This is our mobile application, and you can sign up. You can get Comedic Stream on your mobile device for free. You can select to open up the Comedic Legacy podcast, and you'll find some 30 different webinars, lectures, and resources in there. You can also learn about the powerful Zazen breathing technique and module that's in there, as well as all the modules on the individual Neteru. So make sure you get Comedic Stream on your mobile device. That's also going to be a resource for you as you move through the KGM process and other courses with us. So with that, I want to thank you. One other thing, let me put up the link tree. Those of you asked about readings in your area, let's go to the link tree. Where is it? Okay, so you can go to https:// that should be a backslash, I believe. Just go to link tree. I think you put in if you just type in linktr.ee/Osirian, linktr.ee/Osirian, and that will take you to, in fact, let me show you. Let's do that. There we go. So we're talking about our link tree, y'all. So you can find someone near you. Let's see here. Here we go. So this is our link tree. And you'll notice that we have, there's those free webinars we spoke about that will connect you to our Comedic stream. We have our Comedic Legacy website. This is going to be taken down. That was the old winter solstice course. But down below, we have our Pennsylvania area. We have our, let's see here, a lot going on in Pennsylvania. Our vegan restaurant, Now Cafe. We have our Somerset, DC. Actually, DMV, that's DC, Virginia, and Maryland, how to get in touch with them. And there's a restaurant there also in the DC area. Then we have our Washington State region. We have our Southwest region, our Chicago, Illinois, Missouri, and Minnesota region, our Carolinas region, Kentucky, Ohio, Florida, our West Coast branch, and our Atlanta, Georgia, and our Virginia, Milwaukee, Canada, Trinidad, UK, Ghana, South Africa. So you can connect with us wherever you are and find a priesthood member who can help you with some spiritual readings. It's been my pleasure to be with you tonight. So have a wonderful evening. Study hard, meditate a lot, and we will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. at Tapu. Let's play that song again. You want to hear that song again?
Love is giving, expecting nothing in return.
Ooh.
Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. I am you and me. The love we share inside is heavenly. This is true for all to see, that our souls unified in a common destiny. The time is now, let's start today. We gotta see each other in the highest way, 'cause everyone is a reflection of all there is. Nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. Nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return, nothing in return. I'm giving, expecting. Nothing in return, nothing in return. Sharing. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. Love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. True love is giving, expecting nothing in return. Nothing in return. I am you, you and me. The love we share inside is heavenly. This is true for all to see. fire.